recording and ready. I'm gonna check one. Okay. Boom.
1, 2, and welcome back to Outdated with me, Matt Rebar.
And Mikey Sowers.
And, well, you know how we start the show. What's going on in your dating life, Mikey?
Not a damn thing.
Are you saying that it's a ghost town and there's tumbleweeds and all the population has moved out to jobs out west?
Tumbleweeds. Yeah, nothing.
Is that like wind or when like there's like a gun like slinger?
Oh, yeah.
And a cop and it's like
It's an old Western.
Gotcha.
Me
yeah.
being old. No.
Are you saying there's no gold to be gotten in your gold rush?
There ain't no gold out in these parts. I haven't found any gold recently, no.
Okay.
But I did, however,
Oh.
I did call an ex to come over the other night.
Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa.
I
I'm
know.
trying to do like the Pac-Man when you lose.
Yeah.
Okay, describe the night.
Okay.
So where were you?
So, I was at home,
Alone?
of course,
On a weekend?
in my feelings.
What day of the week was this?
Probably Saturday night.
Oh, Mikey,
I know.
that is just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there alcohol involved?
Yes, of course.
Hard liquor, soft drink.
Mostly hard.
It
Semi-hard.
won't go away.
It was semi-hard. Yeah. So that's usually what happens, right? You
So
start
you're
drinking.
home, drinking
Yeah.
in your fields.
In my feelings. And then I'm like, I wonder what so-and-so's up to. So I texted them. So
Whereas the right thing to do would have been like, I wonder what they're up to. You know what? Who cares? I'm
Right.
me.
Yeah.
You were like, no. Gotta
No.
check this out. Gotta follow up.
Yeah.
So, what'd you do?
So texted, hey, I have your water bottle if you want to come pick it up.
Wow.
Of course, this was at midnight,
Hey, it's midnight and it's Saturday, and I just, totally just out of nowhere remember that you left a water bottle here. Is that funny?
No, so random.
Just
yeah.
super,
So
just
random,
pick it
yeah.
up at your convenience,
I know. All right, yeah. So he's like, yeah, I'll be over in a little bit. I'm out with a friend.
So out with a friend, it was
Yes.
like what's funny about like this, if I had gotten this text, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I'll pick it up like tomorrow or maybe later this week, whatever. He was like, no, I'm gonna come over tonight and get it. Do you
Right.
think he was thinking it's like, oh, like this is my chance to like get some for tonight? Like what? I'm curious why he came over that night to get the water bottle.
I don't know.
You didn't
But
ask.
I mean, when he got here, it was very like, hi, because we haven't seen each other in like months. So it was like, hi, how are you? Can I have a hug? Sure, And then I'm like, can I have a kiss? He's like, yes. So we kissed, and then I gave him his water bottle. He sat down. We started cuddling. It was like, it felt good, and but nothing happened, and he just eventually went home. So
Okay, couple notes.
Yeah.
Love that you were very consensual. May I hug you? May I kiss you? It's like the ideal consent universe, because they talk about like, don't kiss someone. You got to be like, can I kiss you? Right? Like,
Yes.
So love that.
all about consent.
2, how did it end? So you guys had a little smoochy smooch, and then he had the water bottle, and then was it like you initiated the goodbye? He did. It was just like late. Like,
Well,
what was the?
So he was drunk.
Oh.
So I think he was maybe too drunk. So he got an Uber home.
Well, he really needed that water bottle for the water then.
Really did, and he filled that up.
So
Sure.
he left. So he Ubered here to get a water bottle, and then Ubered back.
No, he drove here.
Oh,
I know.
I don't love that.
Well, I don't know.
Unless he drove here sober, and then you got him drunk, and then cuddled. And
No, I had no part in that. But anyway, yeah. So it just, and then I tried to hang out later, and then he just said, "Yeah, this is too complicated." Like,
what makes it too complicated?
well, he's probably seeing somebody,
Maybe
and
someone
hanging out with me would be too, like, emotional. But
Too emotional. How long
I
had
don't
you
know.
seen
It
them?
was okay. Anyway, first of all, it was a situationship. It
Yeah.
was never a relationship.
Yeah.
So, and two, he's quite a bit younger than me. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. And you
So-
broke it the first time, or they did,
I initially broke it off. Yes.
because of the age gap.
No. Well, the issue was
Yeah.
the age gap, though,
Oh,
because every time I would bring up, "Hey, so what are we? What is this? You know, what's going on?"
yeah.
It would come up like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, but I mean, I'm nervous because you're this much older than me." I'm like, "Ouch."
First of all, like, what's funny is like the way they paint it makes it seem like you're like on dialysis and you're an oxygen tank and you could go at any minute. Like, I'm so like, Mikey, you're gonna outlive me. Like, you're gonna be here when you're like 100, just like with a
Yeah.
cane. Like, I just love the idea that in his mind he was like, you could go at any
Like-
minute. Like, I can't.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I don't come off as, I don't know what you're supposed to look like when you're 42, but that's
You
not
don't
me.
look
That's-
you
yeah.
don't look 42.
So
Do you know that, like, one of my favorite things to do with you is like when we're meeting new people and I go, "Can you believe he's 42?" And they're always like, "Oh, no, heavens, no!" It's like my favorite thing to do
yeah,
because you don't look 42 at all. You know what? Real quick, while we're on this age thing, so I had a
Yeah.
friend, and I'll name them Patrick because I don't want to put their real name out there just in case.
no names will be used. during
And
this podcast.
Patrick's in their late 20s, and Patrick was gonna like hook up and was on the grind and met someone who was 22 and a senior at CSU and was like, you know what, like, they're hot, I'm gonna go for it. They're on their way there, 22-year-old. And he's like, I can't do it. Like, I think it's just like, yeah, you're 22, but like you're still at CSU. So called it off. CSU guy got pissed and blocked him, you know, which, you know, makes sense. And he's like, you know, there's just something about like that he was in college. It wasn't like 22, 20, you know, late 20s. Like, that's not too big of a gap, but it was just like this idea of like, no, he's still in school. And like, that felt weird to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, to me, I remember being that age, being like a senior in college and feeling like there was a few older guys who kind of, you know, not like necessarily took advantage per se, but like,
Yeah.
you know, didn't have the best intentions and like, you know, strung him along and yada yada. And he's like, I just didn't want to do that to the guy. And I said to my friend Patrick, I was like, well, do you think that was what the aim was, or do you think that this guy just wanted sex? Like, it didn't really. And he's like, I don't know. You're probably right. He probably went and like hooked up with someone else. But yeah, it is interesting. Like, I think some people really like the age thing gets in their head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a pretty firm believer. Like, I would date someone who's a little younger. I would date someone my age. I would date someone who's older.
Right.
Because first of all, to find that genuine connection these days, I mean, shoot, like if we really did limit our age to be within like a year, like, do you know how more difficult that would make dating?
Mm-hmm. Like we talked about in our first episode, like we have the ability to click all of these boxes of what we're looking for. And if we don't find it, we move on. And
Yeah.
that's not realistic, you know?
What's your age range on Tinder, if you don't mind me asking?
So currently,
Yeah.
I have mine 28 to 44.
Really? You won't
Yeah.
go up to like 50?
I don't see. That's the issue, though.
Oh,
Guys my age, we
don't exist.
We
They've been said,
No.
they've been killed off.
No,
They're too
it's just-
old for society.
I try to look for guys my age.
Yeah.
I do. Like
Yeah.
that's a goal. Like
Yeah.
usually that's what I'm geared toward. It's just every time I run into someone like on Tinder
Mm-hmm.
or on Grindr or whatever who's my age, it's like, ooh, what have they done to themselves? Like,
I think if I was in your shoes, so like mine currently, I'm 29. I have
Yeah.
it set, I believe, to 25 to 42.
okay.
So that gives me, you know, a couple years younger than me, obviously like around my age. And then, yeah, I would date up to. Now, here's the thing. Do I often go out with people who are 40, 42? No, but like
Right.
I have the option there because I feel like there are people like yourself, right? Like you
Yeah.
are not what I would say are like a typical 40s, right? But like, I know what you mean. I mean, once you start getting into 40s and late 40s and 50s, like there's that distinction between like where we are at or just how we live our lives versus like, You know, like, oh, I wake up at 8 a.m. and go to Bob Evans on Sunday and, go home and be in bed by 8 p.m. And, yeah, there is definitely a distinction. I think you should widen your net, though. I think you might be missing on a few goldfishies out there.
Younger or older?
Older.
Okay.
I would go up to 50 if I were you.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like you might be missing. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong plenty of times. I feel like you could be missing some really good connections and like, guys in their late 40s who, had that same energy and vibe as you. Mm-hmm. And you're very, you're kind of like the RA. Mm-hmm. Like you are in college, but you're a little more sophisticated than like the average college student. So like, I think you need to find like a fellow RA.
Yeah. It's not like I'm alone in this situation. Yeah. I think a lot of guys out there have that age limit. Like, I'm 28, but I won't date anybody over 35, You know
what?
So it's the same thing. It's just shifted up.
Yeah.
I
want some research done stat. I want to know what people's age range is on Tinder, Bumble, etc. And this goes for the gays and the ladies and the straight guys. Because like I probably agree with you. I think guys probably are setting their age like younger than themselves. Yeah. I feel like ladies though, they're probably going more like older, right? Like
yeah.
I feel like I'm probably really unique where I would go under, I would go over my age. And to me, the age part of it is not as important.
Well, we're coming from the gay male perspective.
We're also coming from the desperate as a hell perspective.
I'm not desperate.
You know what's funny, real quick, before I tell you about my dating life recently?
Yeah.
My one family friend, she's one of my mom's best friends. Her name's Michelle. And I was with her and my mom and my dad and Michelle's husband. And we were all, it was like a little like early dinner happy hour thing. And she goes, that new podcast, is that like mom friendly? And I don't think my mom heard it. I think my mom was like distracted, but I was like, it is not mom friendly. So just shout out to anyone who's wondering, like, should I? Like, who's this podcast for?
Right.
Not our moms.
Yeah.
So
no, sorry.
But in my dating life,
because the episode that we start talking about butt stuff, it'll be like, okay, I'm gonna maybe listen to Oprah now.
Butt stuff is incoming, which for some of you might be you're ready for it. Others are you're like clenched just thinking about it. But let me tell you. Okay, so this week, there's so many things I could tell you about this week in dating. I'll be honest. Let me start here.
Yeah.
Okay. Met someone who was trying to, quote, figure it out. Just got out of a 7, 8, 9 year long relationship, like a very long, like a long relationship. So recently single, and then just trying to like find themselves a little bit. And I don't know. I've not put any pressure on that. I've really kind of just like, I'm letting that ride. But we hung out. We had a great time.
Yeah.
And we actually are still talking. Which I think the fact that you're still talking after you like the first date, that's like a good sign. But I just don't know how invested or non-invested to get. Because I feel like I'm really bad at like treating things kind of emotionally. Like I'm either very emotional or like I cut all my emotions out of it. Which might be a toxic trait. I'm not sure. But so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not sure how to progress. So I'm just going to stand still and just wait until the paths become a bit clearer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you been in a situation like that? Is that
so? Okay. So when you say still figuring it out, are we talking relationship or are we talking sexuality?
I think the sexuality is pretty on lock and key. I think it's more, I don't even know if it's still figuring it out necessarily. It seems like they don't want to jump into anything serious at the moment. Like they're not.
So he didn't get out of a female.
7 years
male.
is a long time.
Was it a straight relationship or a gay relationship?
You know what? I didn't even ask that.
Okay.
Which is bad interviewee. I mean, I'm doing a podcast. I should ask.
Well,
what's funny is like I feel like we've gotten to know each other, but we've not really gotten into any super deep territory. Yeah. I think partially because like I know that they're not looking for something serious, so I'm just trying to like get to know them as a friend. Like go that route with it almost, but I'm actually really proud of myself because I feel like a couple of years ago I'd kind of just see like no, goodbye.
Yeah.
So to kind of be in this position where I'm trying to be a friend, I don't know. I feel like not like Mother Teresa, but I feel like that's the route to go. I don't know. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I can't remember a time where I've gone into something where it's kind of friendly,
Yeah.
really, where we're just hanging out as friends. Because I guess normally when I'm going to hang out with someone that I'm interested in, it's romantic. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I guess I think maybe I'm at a point in life where like I'm really tired of just trying to pursue like romance all the time. Like I'm actually like, okay, maybe I should be looking for friends and maybe I should be cultivating
Right.
like just whatever makes me happy and not like focus on the label. Cause like last year was a lot of focusing on that label and like, what did that get me? A ton of bad dates. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about today's topic, which is the one that got away. So, Mikey, I'm going to throw it to you first because this was your topic. Has there been one that got away?
For me, there has been one kind of guy that has stuck out to me. Like, really just has stayed in my brain. Like, ooh, if only things had gone better, you know? So this was probably 2015 or whatever. So it's
okay. Second term Obama.
Yes.
Gay marriage was recently legalized.
Yeah.
This was before the chain smokers became big. Post LMAO. Was this what was that one? I'm trying to think of my dance. 2013 was that Psy. Remember that South Korean Psy guy with the Hopam Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
Was that 2013 or 14? And what was the other one? Was like Harlem Shake. Do the Harlem Shake. Was that 2015? I'm just trying to get us visualized into where you were.
You're thinking in musical terms, okay? No,
Netflix was still primarily DVD service.
Yeah. The red box. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I was at my house in the garage smoking a cigarette, whatever, having a drink. It was, probably a Saturday night.
God, you and these Saturday nights, they are...
I know. We need to get out of staying at home drinking and yeah, anyway.
Deal.
So yeah, I was on Grindr, I was flipping, and then I saw some guy. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say he's cute. So I sent him a message and said, hey, you're really cute. And then he sent me one back. And he said, you're really cute too, Mikey. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So I'm like,
your username was like, not Mikey. It was like...
It was probably M or something.
I was going to say, I go by MH.
Yeah,
it's like I'm some superhero. Okay,
right.
So you were like, how do you know
so
my
I'm
name?
like, how do you know? Oh my God, it's so-and-so from high school. So it's someone that I went to high school with. We will call them Joel. Joel, yeah. So I kept talking to Joel, and we decided to hang out. And so our first hangout was at 16-Bit Bar. So for you nerds out there, you know what 16-Bit Bar. It's a bar where there's a bunch of really old arcade games, and you can play and drink and just have fun.
Yeah. I was just there, but I was there on a Sunday, and there were so many kids. It was awful.
Ew.
It was like a Chuck E. Cheese. I was like, excuse me. Like, I'm trying to have adult drinks and adult conversation at the games. Like,
no thanks.
So weird.
No.
Anywho.
Yeah. So we went there. We hung out. I think there was like this was back when I lived in Columbus. But yeah, we had dinner, and then we went to 16-Bit Bar. We had a great time. We were playing like X-Men together, and we were bumping into each other, and then
by this point, had you known, like, what was he looking for? Like, what did he say he was looking? Or
I have no idea. You
didn't even ask.
Well, I don't remember what his ad said.
Gotcha.
It was
his
not
ad.
important. Well, you know what I mean, like his profile.
His
profile. I don't remember.
Actually, you can kind of sponsor your profiles these days. I don't think back then you could, but these days, like, you can Tinder, like, put a spotlight on you on Tinder or something. Isn't that crazy?
Mikey Sauer, sponsored by Cialis.
Matt Rebar, sponsored by Tito's and Panera Bread's Coffee Club.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the bar.
Yeah, so we're at the bar.
You're, like, having your Lana Del Rey moment.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
Like, so stupid cute. And, like, at a moment, I'm like, oh, if this could become something. So he doesn't know this, but I bought a blow pop ring from a vending machine.
Oh.
So I was like, I kept it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if this goes anywhere, that would be the cutest thing.
So you were on a first date planning like scrapbook material.
Well, listen, this was like, I thought he was cute in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh my.
Full circle moment for you.
Yes, it was a
serendipity out the ass.
Right.
Serendipit ass.
All right. So yeah.
And this whole time is going well. Like the chat, there's good banter, as
good
my friends,
chat.
as our listeners from Ireland would say, good crack.
Good crack. Mm-hmm.
In both ways.
In both ways.
Yeah.
No. So great conversation. And then, it started to rain. And then we got in the car.
Stop it.
And I'm like,
was this true? Okay, don't tell me this was directed by like the person who brought you 10 things I hate about you. And the director of the proposal brings you it rained.
It was raining.
Gosh.
And then we got in the car and I'm like, can I kiss you?
You love
I'm all about the consent.
You are
yeah.
you literally could have a partner of 60 years. You'd be like,
oh, yeah,
may I kiss you?
No.
Also, if someone said, can I kiss you? I'd be like, may I kiss you?
No, once we're together, I don't have to ask.
Okay. Consent goes out the window. Mikey
Consent
says
is out the window.
We're dating officially. You heard it here first. Just kidding. All right. Okay, so you're in the car and you're like, can I kiss you?
Yeah. And we kissed.
And he was like,
yeah.
Yes.
We kissed. Yeah. It was good.
It was good.
So then
was
we
it
kept
French or was it just English style?
I only do French. Yeah.
Also, I love the idea that we're going to call non-tongue kissing English style.
Right.
Let's make that happen, everybody. Okay. So then from there, who was driving? Who dropped who off?
Well, that was the end of the night. So we both drove.
Oh, okay. So you
was just a
climbed
kiss
into
goodnight.
one car.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It was like great. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
And it ended, that's for a grinder date to end on a kiss. That is like the new like conservative, you know.
Where's my U-Haul?
Yeah.
Like when do we move in together?
So I was looking at like 3-bedroom apartment flats and
right. So you have a dog? Okay, good to know. I'll make sure we have a yard.
For wedding. Just hypothetically.
Just
hypothetically.
hypothetically.
Okay, so
yeah.
That went well, and then
Went well.
you just started kind of hanging out more and
Started hanging out, started dating.
There was a label.
There was a label
And
eventually,
who
yes.
pulled out the label maker?
Okay, so it was like we had hung out at a friend's house.
Okay.
And
mutual friend.
Yes.
High school friend. Okay.
Mutual high school friend, and then he's like
doing the Harlem Shake.
Right. And then like the night was ending, he's like, so do you want to come back to my house? I'm like, oh yeah.
I just love the idea of like, do you want to come back to my house? Yes.
Right.
You were
so
like,
I hopped in the car and we went back to his house, and then we were both making another drink, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what is this? What's going on here? I'm like, well, I'm not into labels, but if you want to call me your boy.
You're the biggest label maker.
I
You
know.
love a good label, you liar.
I really, but yeah.
That's interesting. So he kind of initiated, and then you were like, I don't know. And then he was like, let's date.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and you were like,
yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I just don't know labels. I don't see labels. I don't see colors or labels or anything.
It was just, if you were to imagine something that was like storybook wise, for me, it was going that way.
I just can't wait to sit down with my, 6 and 7-year-old nieces and pull out, Mikey's, high school lover turn or high school crush turned lover as a nice children's story time.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. And then they rimmed on the table.
Yeah, but it didn't end well. So we're not telling that story.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So then came a fish and smooth sailing initially.
Smooth sailing initially, but he was not out to his family at the time.
Out to friends, though? Out to
some friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He had a relationship in the past.
Okay.
But so
and how did that go down? That just...
I think his ex was pretty clingy. So...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like silly putty.
Right.
Just all over the place.
So it was just really... I don't know. It was magical when it was happening for me. Mm-hmm. But the problem with it was he was going through a lot of self kind of hatred because of because of being in the closet for so long and denying himself to the world and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you felt like that was bleeding into your relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. But eventually, I think I got overwhelmed with how I was feeling with him.
Yeah.
So I probably was not really, I didn't have a lot going on at the time because I just probably graduated college or whatever. I was about to graduate from OSU for the first time I graduated. Anyway, but yeah, so I didn't have a lot going on. So I kind of like, I said I need more and blah, blah, blah. And
so you kind of pushed.
I pushed.
Instead of being stationary to it.
Yes. So I should have just chilled
pushed
out.
him off the cliff in a way. He just was like, nope.
It was like, I just need more. And he's like, I hear you. I don't think I can give you what you want. So then, yeah.
Now, looking back,
yeah,
do you think, like, had you been maybe a little older, wiser, or, you know, maybe you had that, you know, 2020 retrospective, do you think, like, you could have pulled back a bit and, like, waited it out and then maybe naturally, like, with more time and more, you know, comfortability on his end, like, or do you think it just, you know, where he was is where he is now? Like, I guess, like, could it have been different under different conditions, or... Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it just didn't matter time, place, or era? Yeah. It just was not.
I would say both of us were not the people that we were meant to be at the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I have really grown up a lot, and I've really figured out who I am now. And I think he has too. I'm not saying I've Facebook stalked him, but you know, you just see people on Facebook, you know, so he's moved to a different state. He's got a career. He looks pretty happy. And so I think he was meant to do what he was going to do.
Mm-hmm. And he was meant to move to a different city and find himself.
It's on your next album.
And said, well, that was Jewel.
Oh.
You didn't pick up a Jewel reference? You're an old gay man. I mean, why? Anyway, for those, you know, I was meant for you.
Oh, right. Okay, now it's ringing.
Now the joke's not as funny because I had to explain it. But
sorry. All right.
So like, okay, if let's say he moved to Cleveland, would you go for it again, or do you think it's like, no, I think it is what it is. Like, where do you think, like, if God forbid the stars aligned and there was a chance to I'm going to promote my upcoming song and my upcoming album called Recreate. You know, if you wanted to recreate that first date when you first met, what do you think there would be something there? Or
I can't dwell on the
obviously
past. You know, I can't. I think I romanticize him a lot. You know, I put him on a pedestal sometimes.
Yeah, and I get the nostalgia with something familiar though too.
Yeah. Probably.
I think that's how I get. I think sometimes it's not even about like, do we click or do we gel, but there's like a familiarity or nostalgia that like makes like, I know you and I'm not going to have to like learn you again. Like some of these guys, like that's the part that you're like, oh, like I have to learn you. And sometimes it's nice to just like be in that familiar space. So I think it was just all about the fantasy of it. So yeah. You liked the concept, but the
I really did.
Person,
So that's mine. Matthew, do you have one that got away?
I think there's a lot of people that wish that I could say that. I think there's the closest one that comes to this was probably actually maybe back in 2015 myself. There was someone who I was kind of seeing as like a summer fling situation. It was great. It was like fun. It felt like there was so much potential, and then they were gonna go back to school across the state, and you know how that goes. The summer. Yeah, right.
I had one of those too.
Right? And then you know, it just it was one of those things where I was like, I'm open to, you know, seeing. They were very adamant, like, no, like it's just, you know, it's just not gonna work. And eventually we would talk once in a blue moon. I think now they're down living somewhere south, like, you know, south of the Mason-Dixon line. And it's just one of those things where you're like, you know, I don't know if that ever got a fair shake, but that's kind of what life is. I mean, life is not fair, unfortunately. If it was, I think we'd all be living very different lives in many different ways. So is it one of those things where if they moved back, or if, God forbid, I moved down south, like, is the chemistry still there? Like, I don't know, like maybe, but I will say what's funny about your situation is I've been there too. Like I dated someone who's bi, and they were not comfortable being out to their family because what was weird, they had a sibling who was gay, and they were like, I can't be a second queer sibling to my parents and to my family, which I actually only recently learned was an actual thing. I didn't even think that I would have thought that like, oh, like if you have a sibling who's queer, it'd be easier for you. But apparently for some people, they find it harder because it's like, oh, like I'm gonna like, my parents want children, or my parents want these expectations that, another sibling, another child of theirs can't provide. So that was really interesting. And I will say my last situationship, that was like a year long with this guy in Toledo. And I don't know, I think about him a lot, probably because it's the most freshest, right?
Yeah.
It's like the most recent war.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm like a war commander, but I think there's reasons that didn't work out. And, that just that expectation of, what I need, but also too, like, I think that they need time to like come into their own and like get, their own kind of mental health organized. And
Right.
I'm not the kind of person that's going to be like, well, like, yeah, it could work but like, no, if it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that any have gotten away. But yeah, I think everyone can agree that there are situations in relationships, friendships, family dynamics, like these things that you go like could that be worked out? Could that be ironed? Was it just a bad time? Was it me? Was it them? And I think it's healthy. I think it really is healthy to kind of, like think back on these situations, friendships, relationships, and try and put yourself in that shoe of like, maybe that would have worked out if I had different expectations, or if I had been smarter or older, or if they had had their houses in order in a certain way, or whatever, but
Right. So it's like the lesson, if it was meant to be,
Well, to quote one of my least favorite songs, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Right.
Maybe it's just meant to be. I think that's how it goes. I don't know. You know the country song with Bebe Rexha?
You lost me at country.
And you didn't have me at Bebe Rexha. Oh my God, real quick. My niece is like obsessed with Bebe Rexha. I'm like, really?
She's
like
great.
That's the pop star you want to stand?
I like Baby Rexha.
I mean, she's fine, but like, you're number one?
Hey, everyone's got someone. We can't all be obsessed with Beyonce.
You're right. It was more original than Beyonce. I'll give my 6-year-old niece that.
Right.
So. Well, would you like to end on an affirmation and a pickup line?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Every dating experience is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery, and I embrace each moment with an open heart.
Will you embrace my moment?
The whole idea of open heart is so funny to me. Just like don't you just envision like a heart that like has like,
yeah,
like we've cut it open and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just,
I mean, after all the crap that we've been through, how can we approach anything with a complete open heart? It's different. Yeah.
And here's a pickup line, Mike.
Okay, I'll pick up.
Excuse me,
Yes.
but you? You Mrs. Doubtfire.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. But I think the stars tonight are outshone by your smile.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I like that the excuse me part. It kind of gives it like there could be important news here, and it's actually just a cheesy pickup line. So.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. All right. Well, hey, what a great episode today. Thank you so much for joining. I almost said thanks for joining me as if you're not co-hosting. Thanks for putting up with me, Mikey.
Bitch.
If for more information on Outdated, you can go to starvoltstudios.com. You can find us, of course, anywhere you get a podcast. Give us 5 stars, please. Maybe 4. I mean, 4 if you think we really deserve it, but I think we deserve 5. And of course, if you want more information, you want to be a guest, you want to come on, you have ideas, you have complaints, you want to answer any of the rhetorical questions that we've posed tonight, well, hey, find us on social media. For me, it's personally at Reebstar, HRABSTAR. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm not going to say X. Starvolt Studios at Starvolt Studios, also on those same platforms. And Mikey, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, though I don't use it that often. It's Mikey_Sowers.
So maybe don't reach out to Mikey and expect a response. But if you'd like to see pictures and or find singles in the Northeast Ohio area for Mikey, that can be where you take a look at his visual resume.
This podcast is just a ploy to get me dates, right?
By the end of the year, we're gonna be dating people. I promise. We'll hear that back next year and see how that goes. So,
all right.
We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Bye.